How's it going, everyone? It's a great pleasure to collaborate with my guy Jim here, and me and him, we're going to be discussing hockey topics, news, anything latest around hockey. So this gonna be the first of what could be many collaborations between me and Jim. Jim, how's it going? How's it going, man?
Everything's going well. This is, yes, first of many collaborations together. We talked about it, and I'm doing well. It's a Tuesday, a lot of hockey stuff to talk, and why not? Thought it'd be a great idea to collaborate and talk some hockey.
Yes, for sure. And for the viewers and listeners who are going to be watching and listening to this, we're respectable rivals because he's a Devils fan. I'm a Rangers fan. I'm from New York. He's from Jersey, but we're respectable about that. Two great teams. And but anyway, let's get started with the latest news that's going on this week in hockey. The Vancouver Canucks fire head coach Bruce Boudreau. I think that's how you pronounce his last name. So Jim, I mean, he was on the hot seat from the beginning of the season. He was in the hot seat from the beginning of the season, and him, as well as the coaching staff, they knew that they anticipated what was going to happen. So for the last 12 games, Bruce went 1-10-1, which is horrific when you think about it. But what was very touching and emotional is that in his last game, which happened against the Edmonton Oilers, the fans chanted his name in support, but the Vancouver Canucks front office felt that they needed a new voice. The team needs a new voice, but it's not something that's going to be fixed right away because they still need to improve on their defense. They rank number 31 in goals against opponents. So there's a lot of things that they need to work out, but the front office felt like they needed a fresh new start, and it had to start with firing the head coach.
Yeah, it's crazy. Just a crazy situation. Goes back to last year. Obviously, Bruce Boudreau came in, and he was the new head coach of the team. They fired the previous head coach because, again, poor start. Hey, they went on a winning streak, and they got everything situated. But here's the thing. At the beginning of the year, he even said it. He's like, I was a lame duck coach from the beginning of the year. Like, he knew October 8th when the season started, he wasn't gonna come in and he wasn't going to be there the whole year. He knew that. And that's why they didn't give him a big contract extension. They really kind of wanted to move on from him in the offseason, but they felt like they had the team to make the playoffs this year. And if it wasn't for them not blowing like multi-goal leads to start like the first 10 games of the year, we're talking about a different Vancouver Canucks team. But they couldn't, even if they win half those games, they're in the playoff race, but they're not there. Bad contracts with JT Miller. You have Oliver Ekman-Larsson on the back end, Tyler Myers. I don't understand why they re-signed JT Miller, but staying with the coaching staff, they knew 4 weeks ago, even longer, that they wanted to get rid of this guy. And he handled it with all class, all dignity. The organization was disappointing, disrespectful for him. And usually you see after the games, the coaches, they marched down the tunnel right away. He took it in. He knew it was his last game. He got emotional towards the end. And the fact that he handled it with class and dignity, he's going to get another job in the NHL. But, again, like I said, with Rick Tocchet coming in, they knew 4 weeks ago, according to his contract with TNT, that he needed to give them 4 weeks notice. They wanted this guy all along. It's just a shame that's the way it went down, because I think you should have made the move in the summer instead of let this thing just drag out.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I do think that he will find another job. I mean, he's been coaching in hockey for 15 seasons. He coached the Washington Capitals, the Anaheim Ducks, Minnesota Wild, and now the Canucks. He's 68 years old, but I still feel that he has something left in the tank. And now the Canucks, his successor is former head coach Rick, who will be taking over. Yes, he's a high energy guy, and sure, there's going to be some things that he could tweak certain things in the team, but again, they still need a lot to improve, and that's not going to happen this season. It's something that's going to have to start working in the off season and see what they can do from there. JT Miller said that he loved playing for Coach Bruce, but at the same time, he understands that it's a business and they had to move forward and see what's going to happen. But but yeah, that's the situation. I mean, Vancouver hasn't been to a Stanley Cup final since 2011 when they lost to the Bruins. So, but obviously, you know, there, like I said, there's a lot of things they need to change. But I do agree that they should have let him go in the summer, not wait for this to drag out. And usually, and you know this very well, that when a head coach gets fired, players start feeling bad about themselves because they're not playing as hard to win games for the head coach. So, but yeah, that's the crazy situation that is happening in Vancouver.
Yeah, it's such a crazy situation. Like I said, you go back to last year, even with the management and the whole JT Miller situation. Everybody knew he was going to be traded. Like there were teams lining up for them with packages for this guy, and his value was so high. He went on that ridiculous 18-game point streak for the Canucks. They were doing well under Boudreau, but even Brock Besser was another name that was out there. And the fact that they didn't get anything for those guys, they re-signed Miller to that 8-year extension. Obviously, like, there's a couple of other, moves that they made that were really good, like the Andrei Kuzmenko. They developed him. They brought in some guys, but there's so many bad contracts on this team that Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allivan and the Canucks have to sort through. And now you have your captain, Bo Horvat, who is probably going to get traded. Basically told the Canucks, yeah, your latest offer is not good enough. So he's going to be gone. I wouldn't be surprised they move. If they're not busy this off at the trade deadline or in the offseason, there's something wrong. They have to make headlines. Horvat's gone. To me, I think Brock Besser's gone. Luke Schen's gone. And if they can move a couple of other contracts to get out of there, then they're going to be in good shape. But again, they have a lot of work to do. Rick Tocchet has a lot of work to do. The penalty kill is the worst in the league. Obviously injuries, their goaltending, Thatcher Demko didn't help. But the fact of the matter is this team needs to be better, and they need to be better defensively. And again, it's just a shame that they dragged this out with Bruce Boudreau because he's such a likable guy in the league.